This is breaking news on NEA Report. Now, Stan Morris reporting.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in with us live. We're coming at you with some breaking news. We just got off the phone with Walnut Ridge Mayor Charles Snapp, who let us know that there's been an apartment fire in his community, may have displaced a few individuals there. This, according to the mayor, it actually happened. He told us just as we hung up with him a moment ago, happened at the Walnut Ridge Square Apartments behind the Lawrence County Family Clinic. We're actually waiting right now on a call back from some fire officials there in Lawrence County, so hopefully we can find out a little more information. Glad to have you in with us today. It's a busy day here on NEA Report. We've got a lot of news that we're going to be talking to you about. Coming up here in just a short time, actually going to be talking to both the county treasurer, Terry McNatt, about the budget woes that have been affecting the county, and specifically what caused Craighead County to fall behind this time last year. And if you watched the show yesterday, you already know the answer to that. And that's the subject of our discussion with our second guest today, which is Jonesboro attorney Mark Rees. And he's in to talk to us about exactly all of those reasons behind those budget shortfalls, and more specifically so why he says it's a good thing. There's a lot of material we're going to be covering today. For those who are out driving, getting ready to head home within the next hour or so, we're also going to do our best to warn you about all the fun that's on I-555. Last night, of course, we had a wreck there just after the newscast, and it really shut traffic down on the interstate for just a good portion of the evening. So we'll have the latest on that and more news, what's been going on in Northeast Arkansas. That is all coming up right here on NEA Report.
Now, Stan Morris reporting.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm Stan Morris, glad to have you here. Talking about the rundown right now, the news that's on the list to be covered today. We are starting out with triple nickel. You've heard it, the troubles that are happening on the interstate. We're going to give you the latest on that. And speaking of driving, Click It or Ticket is taking place this Thanksgiving, as most holidays would expect for the law enforcement to be doing something of that nature. All the details on that, some of the departments. Stop the Bleeding. It's a foundation that got a huge grant in Northeast Arkansas, and more on that. Stop the Eating, and sort of in relation to the Battle of the Bulge that's being fought here in the state of Arkansas. We'll tell you where Arkansas ranks on the obesity charts, and it's not good. And I don't have a lot of room to talk. Also, we got the 5-day forecast and a 70-degree Friday. That's not a typo. We'll tell you the latest on that. Plus, as we mentioned tonight, special report that's coming up on the budget woes that have been affecting Craighead County, and the reasoning behind that. Of course, lots of stuff there that we're going to be talking about here on NEA Report. So the first thing we're going to get to, it's a big, nasty traffic situation on I-555 as you may be getting ready to head home today. It's probably already slowing down right now, but what you're looking at behind me is what it looked like last night. Last night, right around this area, they had a nasty wreck. It was between Caraway Road and Harrisburg Road, and what happened was it really shut the northbound lane down, just created a terrible mess for those who were out dealing with that. The hope is tonight that traffic will move a little bit smoother, but if you are taking triple nickel home, especially in the northbound lane, you have to remember Stadium, Caraway, they all merge together, and right as those lanes are merging onto the interstate, you're merging down into one lane of traffic too. Be extra cautious if you're out and about dealing with that, because of course we would like to see no more automobile accidents happen. That was terrible yesterday. Backed up the traffic for a while. Had us covering it out there live too. So some more news to get to. We told you about the Click It or Ticket campaign. It rolls around during the holiday season, and no surprise, it's back yet again. The police want you to buckle up, and if you don't, they may end up giving you something to signify the holiday season. It's not something you're wanting to keep. We're talking about tickets specifically. In 2014, according to the statistics, 341 passenger vehicle occupants were killed over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. That is an amazing number, and apparently 50% were not wearing seatbelts. Arkansas State Police and Truman Police both sent out releases today trying to urge folks to buckle up. The idea is not to give people tickets. The idea is to get people to buckle up. I was going to say click it, but I think you've had enough of the rhyming. But nonetheless, we do hope that those who are out driving for the holiday season are extra cautious and safe this holiday season. Well, Northeast Arkansas is on the receiving end of a grant for life-saving medical technology. It's great news, and it's on the homepage of NEAreport.com right now. Some of the details, $149,000 coming in a grant from the Blue and You Foundation. It's coming to the Stop the Bleeding Foundation, which they're going to be using this grant in Northeast Arkansas to train 600 law enforcement officers and firefighters in life-saving medical techniques. Each student will attend an intense 8-hour law enforcement and first responder tactical emergency casualty care training course, but that's at no cost to their department. That's what the good news is this money is going to save local departments money. As mentioned, it's free training for first responders across the area, and they want us to get the word out so more people can actually go online and sign up for this. If you want to sign up, go to stopthebleedingfoundation.org. At least 15 lives have been saved in Northeast Arkansas and 60 overall, according to the release, since this began. From stopping the bleeding to stopping the eating. Apparently, Arkansas has a problem similar to the Battle of the Bulge, but in a whole different light. We're talking about obesity, and a new report states that Arkansas ranked 4th as the most obese state in America. Nearly 35% of Arkansans are overweight, and 36% are obese, according to the CDC. According to NEA report, 100% of the anchors sitting here for this broadcast would fall under the overweight category. How about that? Arkansas is only outranked in the survey by Mississippi, West Virginia, and Tennessee. Our buddy George Jarrett did a big story on it today, and actually I love this because as I was reading through it, it talked about the percentage of how much you eat being what it causes your weight to be, and it's a lot more diet than it is exercise. So if you're looking to get in shape for the holidays, maybe all you have to worry about, or at least most of what you have to worry about, is what's on your plate. Nonetheless, if you want to check that out, it is at talkbusiness.net. Our buddy George Jarrett there with the story. This one's going to sound a whole lot like we're making it up, or maybe we're getting the news wrong, but we're not. We've double-checked it and triple-checked it. There's a 70-degree day in the forecast for this week, if you can imagine that. The 5-day forecast is not a mistake, but it certainly seems a bit odd. We call it Arkansas weather if you're new around here, but we'll tell you about what we're expecting on Friday. But first, let's talk about tonight. We're looking at a 42-degree low. Tomorrow, it's supposed to be a relatively sunny day, surprisingly so, considering what's on the way for the weekend. The high around 56 and the low around 42. But on Friday, now the graphic right there, it says 69 because it's been going back and forth all day between 70 and 69 degrees, the forecast from the National Weather Service. Right there at 70. Unbelievably warm on Friday, and winds also. It's going to be a breezy day. 30% chance of showers early on. But then as you sort of move into later in the evening is when that 30% chance of showers moves in. But as you move into the early morning Saturday, that's when you're going to see more showers really roll in. Very likely that Saturday is going to be a rainy day, but still with a warmer high, 67. However, you can obviously tell that warming trend tapers off just almost immediately as we roll into Saturday night, the low dropping down to 37 by Sunday. Cooler yet again, but at least sunny skies as you get up and head to wherever you're going on Sunday, with a high around 51, the low around 32, freezing yet again. So that should get everybody's sinuses going pretty nicely over the next few days. This weekend, the Red Wolf Express will be running, and we want to give you some information about that. So if you're getting out and about to support the local team, you'll have more information on the easiest way to get there. Jets Bus will begin taking riders on Saturday at 11 a.m. The buses will leave the corner of Kate and Church Street every 20 minutes until 1:30 p.m. Round trip prices are $250 for adults, $120 for seniors over 65, disabled, veterans pass holders, and ages 6 to 18, and free for children under 6. So get in if you get the opportunity to. You might be able to get somebody to drive you there, have your own chauffeur. More news is on the way after the break. As mentioned, we're going to be talking to several individuals about what has really kind of become a bit of a controversial topic, this budget shortfall in Craighead County. We're talking to the county treasurer coming up, and then we're talking to Jonesboro attorney Mark Rees. He's got some strong opinions on the subject. You don't want to miss this. Hang on.
Call Acme Pest Management and get a handle on the pest that may be moving to your neighborhood. Acme offers termite, pest, and mosquito control with year-round protection to keep your home or business pest-free. For termites, Acme utilizes Termidor, America's #1 termite defense product. We provide general pest control on varying schedules based on your pest problem and mosquito misting and larvicide services to give you back your yard. Rid your home of all pests. Call Acme Pest Management today for a free inspection and estimate.
If you're a business owner, gaining new customers and retaining them is your top priority and biggest hurdle. Today, 85% of customers search online or look for you on social media. Do you have an effective strategy to reach them? At Ace One, we will customize a digital marketing strategy comprising of social media, web, and video marketing that fits your budget. Our dedicated account managers will work with you to create engaging campaigns, covering all digital media outlets. Ace One, your partner in digital marketing. Contact us today.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Glad to have you in with us today as we're tackling this subject of the budget shortfalls for Craighead County and Northeast Arkansas. And then we're going to be talking to Mark Rees here in just a couple of seconds. But before that, we're talking to the county treasurer, Terry McNatt, who's kind enough to take a little time out of his schedule. Joining us on the phone right now is Craighead County Treasurer Terry McNatt. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time out of your schedule today to talk to us. Appreciate it. Talking a little bit about the budget, we saw earlier this week that we were, I guess, tracking to be about $300,000 behind this time last year. Is that right?
Yes, sir. It is.
And where is that? Where is most of that money fallen off from in the past year?
Revenue streams is where our issue is right now. Expenditures are actually our department heads and elected officials are not spending as much money, and that's kind of what's preventing us to be in worse shape than what we are at this time. Revenue streams that are underperforming right now compared to previous years. We were looking at district court fines, costs and forfeitures, state police tickets, service warrants, sheriff fees, housing state prisoners, reimbursement for juvenile officers. Of course, there were some items that were approved at a higher revenue projection than probably they should have, and so those kind of made it a little more difficult also.
I gotcha. So do you know what kind of plans or ideas are in place, or have there even been any discuss as to what's going to be done to replace this?
Well, the discussion in Finance Committee the other night was the first time that all of us got to sit down and speak on the issue. Of course, we needed more people there to be involved in this conversation because the building of the budget, as you can tell by the makeup of the budget committee, there's only one finance person that's on the five-panel commission dealing with the budgets. We needed more people to be involved in this because changes in policy, changes in funding, these are what's driving some of these to not perform as they should.
I see. Well, I know that I've heard some discussion that's out about, that there may have to be an alternative revenue source. Do you think there's enough spending that could even be cut to maybe offset this, or are we almost going to have to do something, or is that tough to even say right now?
In the counties, in the county government world, there is room to cut expenses. There's always services that are needed and services are required by law, and then there's a lot of other services that we provide that we just provide because we have the finances to do. we might have to go back and restructure and not be providing the donations that we make from the county. We might have to, cut those donations back a little bit. There were some other, we have some departments that's got a lot of manpower in it, and some of them are very small. So we just have to go through and look and see, where has technology and where has other innovations helped us to, where we can make maybe a smaller footprint, personnel-wise.
County Treasurer Terry McNatt, thank you, sir. One of the things we've been talking to you about this week is the budget woes that Craighead County is facing and the reasons behind that. And one of the people that has perhaps been the most outspoken about some of those reasons has been Mark Rees. And thank you, sir, for coming in and talking to us. We talked to you a little bit before, in fact, yesterday, when we were looking at some of those budget reasons and why that the county is missing numbers that we were hitting last year. The story came out. I saw you had actually shared something about it. It seemed like all of the reasons listed, specifically half, were from district court fines and fees that were last year we were getting, but this year they're not coming in anymore. So that's costing us, it seemed like, as far as the county goes, about $160,000 or so, $163,000. But the question is that a good thing, or is that something that we need to fix? And Mark Rees is here to join us to tell us what he thinks, sir.
Well, thanks for having me. When I saw this article in the Jonesboro Sun about the county's budget, and they had these sources that were not generating what they thought they needed to be, it is something that I've talked about and somewhat fought about, because I've always thought that the district court in the past and for many years has been nothing but a generator, a collection for revenue. And in my opinion, I don't think our district court was ever meant to be a revenue generator. It was basically to impose some punishment, but over the last 15 or 20 years, and I think it's not just here in Craighead County, I think it's like this all over the nation, but all our district courts have basically been there to, let's get as much money as we can so that we can help fund the county. Right. And so I think certainly in this last year, since we have two new district judges, I think that they understand what the Constitution means. I think they understand what equal protection means, and they have started trying to help a lot of these individuals try to get out of the system. And in the past, it basically has been that if you were in the system, it was very, very difficult to get out. And so when I see these funds from district court going down, I think it's a good thing, and I think as the public that we should be very proud of what our district judges are doing.
Well, with people getting out of that system, we've seen a lawsuit filed by the Justice Network, actually a class action, or not a class action, but a lawsuit that encompassed several different municipalities across the area. Don't know where that's going to go just yet, but that revenue source was big for them, but it was also big for Craighead County too. So now that that's been interrupted, I guess a lot of people are wondering, are we going to have to raise taxes? Are we going to have to cut spending? I mean, where, and that's a political question, obviously, and less of a legal question. But as far as getting that money in the sense that we were before, do you think that was morally right?
Absolutely not. I think the Justice Network, which is a company I think out of either Memphis or South Haven, Mississippi. Right. They were a for-profit company, and they did nothing but try to keep people on probation, and they would impose fees on these individuals left and right over everything. And they made a tremendous amount of money on basically poor people. And so our new judges, Tommy Fowler and David Bowling, when they were running for the judgeship, they both basically said, we oppose the Justice Network. And so when they won and took office, they did relieve Justice Network of of basically the probation services. So certainly when they released them, that it certainly helped the citizens of Craighead County. It didn't help Justice Network, and they don't like that revenue stream being cut off, and so they have filed suit. I think I haven't read the lawsuit, but just from a common sense standpoint, it seems like it doesn't have any merit.
Right.
I think at the end of the day, it will be dismissed by a federal judge, and so I think that's going to happen. Now, what the judges now are doing, they have in-house probation services
Right.
that they are using, and they are using it sparingly, and they are using it basically nothing more than just trying to break even, and they probably won't even break even. So there's not a profit incentive, and they're just using the probation services nothing more than trying to help these people get through their sentence and probably get on out and get out of the system.
Is it really something that targets the poor especially hard when you're looking at making that profit off of people that are in the system or dealing with those troubles?
I mean, I think most of the time when district court is dealing with individuals that are certainly what we would consider poor, and I think when you sit there and make these individuals pay fines and costs and probation fees and fees over other fees, then I just think it's morally wrong. I think, should they be punished? Certainly, to a certain extent, but it needs to be, if somebody gets pulled over for speeding, a lot of times their fines are $200. Well, a lot of times, most people may have to work an entire week to pay that.
Sure.
And that makes no sense to me. But there's so many issues on the fines and costs that deals with your legislature and them imposing the amount of fines and what the court costs are. So there are so many different players in this that need to be held accountable, and one of it is your legislature. I think we need to kind of overhaul the fines and things because, in my opinion, I think a lot of those can be excessive.
So we maybe need to think more about the lower income side of people that are dealing with the penalties in this than we are, especially considering how much money it seems like was being brought into our region from that. Do you think that may be something that legislators need to pay a lot more attention to?
I certainly think that's where it would start. We didn't get in this district court revenue generating cycle overnight, and we're not going to get out of overnight.
True.
But on the legislature, they impose what we call court costs on everything. Whatever, if you go through on any charge, you have a court cost, and that typically is either $100 and sometimes maybe $150, and then you have the fine. So you may have something a failure to yield ticket, and you go down there and it's $200, and you get someone that's working at McDonald's and has a family, and then has to pay $200. That it would be very difficult. Now on the other side with our judges, they do listen to these folks coming in front of them. Mm-hmm. They listen to what their jobs are, and they are trying to work with these folks on trying to set up a payment plan that will work for them. In the past, it's like you pay a certain amount, you go to jail. You miss a payment, you get a warrant, you end up going to jail, and then you get fines and more fines. And so we've had a lot of good changes since the first of the year that I have to commend our district judges, because I do think they're doing a fine job, and they will listen to folks. If you're in trouble, if you're having a problem paying it, you need to go see them, and they'll listen to them. In the past, I don't think he had much of a voice.
I was just going to ask you that because you're in court a whole lot more than the average person would be working, and I'm sure you've seen the changes that's happened in district court. Would you quantify those as great? Would you say that that's been a big change?
I would say since the first of the year that everything that our district judges have implemented has been great for the public and great for these individuals with the true, I think their true desire is for these folks to get out of the system. And they're offering, if somebody comes in there and has, I was in there today, and an individual came up and had a lot of old fines and costs that he owed, and probably would take him a tremendous amount of time to pay those off. But the court offered him to allow him to do public service and to work off those fines. So they're giving the individuals a lot of different options, and they're willing to work with them.
I think that that's very important when you consider that a lot of the people that are dealing with troublesome times are also people that are dealing with perhaps financial difficulties too. And then we take a look at how much money is being brought into our county. And that's where I think it really becomes startling, because when you look at this, take a look at these numbers. $300,000 behind the same time last year, and $163,000 of that came from district court fines and forfeitures. But you know, the other sources that are in there that are being talked about too include state police money from tickets. We're also talking about sheriff's fees for warrants, and of course funds for housing prisoners. If you've noticed the common denominator there, the common denominator is that that's all money that's coming in from our prison or incarceration system. And so the first thing I see when I look at that is I'm worried now we're going to see more tickets being written. I mean, is that a worry?
I would think it's always worry. When I look at that and I see where the treasurer says we're underperforming, which, you know, I'm a little concerned with underperforming, because these were never meant, all these fees were never meant to be revenue generators.
Yeah.
The district court should never ever be their sole purpose to generate revenue. Otherwise, you'll exploit people.
Yeah.
And the same thing with our jails. I mean, I've been outspoken a little bit about the jails and how we incarcerate folks. And I think we certainly incarcerate way too many people. I think we should incarcerate people that are dangerous to us, that don't need to be out on the streets. But our jails have basically been a revenue generator, and that's not just here; it's all over the nation. It's your county jails, it's your prisons, it's your state prisons, it's your federal prisons. It's big money, and it's like, again, like I said before, it didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to get fixed overnight. And not sure what the solution is, but certainly it starts, I think, with the legislature in trying to restrict, all these new laws, or it's. I think, first of all, I think we've got enough laws on the books, and our legislatures, they go down to Little Rock, and they're all, graded on how many laws they pass. I mean, if you want to get a good grade in my books, go down there and repeal 1,000 laws. But so there, it's just it's a big cycle that's been going on for years, and I think all these fees that the county has depended on, they need to figure out a way to do without them. And a lot of times is you have to start cutting back on expenditures with the county, and they don't like to do that. So if state police tickets, they're saying, well, look, we're running a little low, we need to get that up. And so you may see a rise in state police tickets, but I wish that we would kind of get away, and the counties would start understanding that we need to live within our means without these unnecessary revenue.
Mark Rees, thank you for coming in and talking to us. Appreciate you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
More news is on the way. fact, that news on the way right now, the 5-day forecast for tonight. We're going to see the lows drop down to about 42 degrees, but get ready because something crazy is on the way. Now, Thursday, sunny skies. We're going to see a high of 56 and a low of 42. Those clouds increase Thursday night, but Friday, it's going to be breezy, and then those clouds are going to be out and about a little bit as well. But look at the high. It's 69. It's jumped between 69 and 70 between when we have pulled the forecast from the Weather Service. So you got to get ready for that. And, of course, the rainfall comes in, or Shane, whoever that guy is. No, the rainfall coming in on Saturday looks like a 70% chance of that. Showers very likely. Clearing up into Saturday night, and by the time Sunday rolls around, you're only going to see a high 51, but at least you got clear skies and, maybe you can have a nice day on there. We hope you have a nice day, and thank you, everybody, for joining us today on NEA Report. We're back tomorrow with a lot more news, and we'll have an interview as well with a big newsmaker in the state. So hang tight for us. NEA Report coming at you live.